Good morning, everyone. Seniors, you know I'm not really crying because this is your last chapel. Whatever this is, I'm dealing with allergies or something, but I'll try to make it through without clearing my throat too often. You can see our theme for today. It has built into it that we approach God with confidence, even though we feel weak. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Let's begin by calling on the name of the Lord, and we'll do it musically. In the name of the Father, in the name of the Father, in the name of the Son, in the name of the Son, in the name of the Spirit, in the name of the Spirit, all three in one, all three in one. So this is about approaching God in prayer. And I've been looking at it for the last several days as I'm getting ready today. And this morning, I'm doing my morning Bible reading, and I'm in the book of Nehemiah. And the person I'm using a book that has a commentary on it. The person notes that when Nehemiah was getting in trouble, like he was nervous about going before the king, or when he went back to Jerusalem to help build the walls, that's the historical setting. Whenever he was getting in trouble, he'd sort of say a prayer on the side. And it reminded me of something I'd like to share with you. To tell this story, I need you to imagine me as a sophomore in college or a freshman in college, and it's a great spring or early summer day, and I'm at the beach with some friends on Lake Michigan, in Michigan. We're driving back from the beach through the countryside. It's a wooded area, so the roads are tree-lined. This is the road that I'm driving on, 55 miles an hour. Think of this as a hill, and this is an intersection, and this is a hill with the road coming down here, and then it goes down a hill over here, and then this road goes down through the woods here. At least that's what I thought. So I'm driving up towards this hill where I see this intersection, and instead of an intersection, I see the top of a police car because of the lights. And the police car is coming up this hill only on a curve. So too late, I realize this is a road coming here with a stop sign. This is a curve right here. This is just woods. I'm driving at 55 miles an hour right for those woods. And I wouldn't have known, I would have been too late if it hadn't been for the police car coming up. And it's a good thing that it had the lights on because it was coming up the hill and I saw the lights first. So I hit the brakes. The car turned sideways on dry pavement, so I'm going sideways like this. Now, this took about 3 seconds, but my buddy who was and I don't remember a lot of this, but my buddy was sitting in the seat, and here's what he tells me I did. The car's going sideways. I'm feeling it starting to tilt. I went zooming right by that police officer. I went, "Oh my God!" And when I did, the steering wheel spun around and the car started going straight again. And I grabbed it again and I started feeling it go this way. And I went, "Oh my God." And the car spun around again and I grabbed it again, and this time it was slow enough down that it got off to the side. Now, I have to tell you that I was not sitting there thinking, "Dear Lord, I do not know how to get out of a dry skid like this. Please show me how, dear Lord." Okay? Fortunately, he knew. He knew what was up. All those things. The police car went around the curve. When it turned around, saw that the sign that would have shown that this was a curve was knocked down along with the speed limit. So when he came back up, he knew what had happened. I didn't get in trouble. The Lord answered my prayer, even though I didn't know what I was praying about. That helps me have some confidence. And I want to show you a couple other examples of where we can do that. So, see these phrases here? When do we use that? Think about that. I've got you covered. Or you're covered. Or on television shows, they're the gun that are hiding, and he goes, cover me. And all his buddies, or her buddies, they're all shooting so that you can go, right? Cover me. I've got you covered. I have to tell you about that phrase because there's a couple of grandmothers of students here who come in almost once a week, and they have a prayer session for St. Croix in our office. And Lauren Murley's grandma comes out of there every time that she's there. If I'm in the office, she peeks her head in and she says, Mr. Gibson, we got you covered. They prayed for me and for the school. And that's one of the things that we can have confidence in. From 1 John. This is the confidence we have in approaching God, that if we ask anything according to his will, he hears us. And if we know that he hears us, whatever we ask, we know that we have what we asked of him. Now, we could go into a whole doctrinal thing, but I'm going to show you later, because you go, well, I've prayed for things, and God didn't give them to me. All right, well, we'll talk about that and why we can have confidence. So the next one. Now, I'm stretching the theology on this one when you see the passage. You know this phrase, everybody? I can do it, right? Somebody challenges you. I could do that with one hand tied behind my back, right? That's a phrase that we use when we want to show that we are really capable, or somebody else is capable of something, and they don't even have to use both hands. So I'm reminded of this because my children were taught 5 different table prayers. I didn't want to get them used to just the same old prayer. So we even did a German prayer. But this was one of them. If you read that to yourself. Fancy terminology, anthropomorphism. Know that, right? We're talking about God who doesn't really have hands, but the Bible speaks to us so we can understand that in the terms of a human being. And I've always noticed, I have no clue, this is the theology part, I don't know if that's really singular in Hebrew, but you notice it says you open your hand. Somewhere along the line when I had to memorize that, I thought, it's not you open your hands. God can take care of all the desires of every living thing with one hand tied behind his back. He can take care of everything that we need. That's the kind of confidence we have, even when we don't deserve to go see him. Last one. I don't know if any of your parents use that, but when I'd be complaining about my mom or my dad when I was really little, my mom would go, "Father knows best." It drove me crazy. And there was a name of a television show way back in the 50s or 60s, Father Knows Best. All right? And actually, when we're younger, before we start having doubts, we usually think that. Mom and Dad know best. Adult parents, human parents don't always have that. There's a Bible passage about something like if you never give your child a stone, and if a human father can do that, I'll show you the Bible passage soon, but if you would make sure you give the best to your children, just think about what God does for us. I have to tell you that that's not always true. I never gave any of my children a stone. But when early on in my marriage, we had a dog that was about 125 pounds. His name was Floyd, and he did lots of tricks. And so when I'd have friends over, I'd have him do tricks. So one time when my buddies were in the backyard with me and we're cooking hamburgers, and I'm sitting in the lawn chair, and I had a rock in my hand. I said, Floyd, sit. Floyd sat. Floyd, speak. Floyd barked. Here, Floyd, and I threw the rock, and Floyd ate it. And I thought, oh no, now I got to pay for the vet. The dog's going to die. Can you believe that? I actually was, I was the opposite of this passage. Which one of you, if your son asks for bread, will give him a stone? Or if he asks for a fish, we'll give him a snake. If you then, though you are evil, and boy, this didn't apply, although Floyd survived, by the way, okay? All right. Know how to give good gifts to your children. How much more will your Father in heaven give good gifts to those who ask him? So, the idea here is even when we pray for the wrong thing, Father knows best. He gives us the right thing. We can pray with that kind of confidence. And now comes the Bible passage that is the center. Jesus is our go-between. That's why we have the direct connection with God. He's our high priest. He's the one who did the sacrifice for us. Therefore, since we have a great high priest who has ascended into heaven, Jesus, the Son of God, let us hold firmly to the faith we profess. For we do not have a high priest who is unable to empathize with our weakness, but we have one who has been tempted in every way just as we are, yet he did not sin. So I've used this as an example. So you think about it. I don't know what college was like in Jesus' day, but he went through those things. Maybe he started at 12 years old when he was in the temple, and he had the teachers of the law around him already. I don't think nervousness is a sin, so he probably dealt with that. I've always said that if zits aren't a result of sin, then he had to deal with that too. He understands what it's like to be a human teenager. He understands what it's like to be going off into the adult world. And that's who we're praying to and who we're praying through. Let us then approach God's throne of grace with confidence, so that we may receive mercy and find grace to help us in our time of need. Mercy, not getting the stuff that we deserve. Grace, getting the stuff we don't deserve. Not being punished and getting salvation in heaven. He did that for us, and he can do all the other things for us. We can pray to him with confidence. It doesn't have to be a long prayer. It doesn't have to be well thought out. I would encourage you to do those things too. It can be short. It can be, Lord, I don't know what to pray for, help me. And I commend you to this summer, to the next school year, to college or work or military or whatever you're doing, knowing that you can go to God with confidence. We're going to sing a song that some of the seniors requested, 10,000 Reasons.
Just a couple quick ones. He's not here today, but we're going to recognize him anyway. Yesterday at the Section 4 2A golf, boys golf tournament, Theo Schmenk had to